that you can never be alone. Yeah. Think it's sorry, you should know. You're so fully let psycho.
Hey you guys, welcome to my channel. You're watching Aman on Taur Beauty. In today's video, I am going to be talking about my delivery and my pregnancy as a whole. So this is going to be a long one, so grab yourself a snack and sit down because this is going to be a lovely chit-chatty video. Firstly, let's just take a moment and I want to show you guys my new hair. So I have been a daredevil and basically chopped all of my hair off. So if you guys can see from my previous videos, my hair was around, I would say around here, just below my elbows, reaching my elbows, and I have gone and cut all of it off. So finally I've done it and I'm not finished with it just yet. I want to put some colour into my hair as well, but I didn't put any colour in before because my hormones were still kind of playing up. But now, since it's been about a couple of months since the delivery, I think finally it's time to put some colour into my hair as well. So I am going to do that. But now, without any further ado, let's get straight into the video. So I've made some notes because I just didn't want to miss anything out and I wanted to tell you guys everything. So hopefully I will guide myself through these notes and tell you guys everything about my pregnancy. So the big question which everybody has been asking us, it's one of the most popular questions we get, not only from our family, friends, from you guys and from a lot of people as well. Was this pregnancy an accident? No. This was a planned pregnancy. Me and my husband have known each other for a long while. We were dating a long while before we got married. We've enjoyed everything that we thought we enjoyed as a couple, and our next step in our life together was to have a baby. So we just kind of let it be, and obviously we did fall pregnant and we have given birth to a beautiful baby boy, which we would not have any other way. And it's the most precious thing in our lives and we are loving every single moment of that. When it came to announcing the pregnancy and wanting to share more stuff with you guys and on my social media, yes, of course, I wanted to share every aspect of the pregnancy. I wanted to share every moment of the pregnancy with you guys. But together we had a discussion and we both respect each other's decisions. And together we came up with the decision that we're not going to publicise and put our pregnancy on social media just of yet. So we waited a long while, and obviously our close family and friends knew that we were going to have a baby. But we waited right up until the baby shower to announce it on Instagram or let any other people know. After we had our baby shower, I put my first picture up on Instagram, and that is when majority of the people got to know that we were having a baby. And what I loved about being pregnant was my face never changed at all. So throughout the entire pregnancy, I was posting pictures on my Snapchat and my Instagram and no one guessed that I was pregnant. So that was pretty amazing. But after we did put up our pictures on Instagram of our baby shower, I began sharing pictures of my belly and how I looked, so that was lovely. My pregnancy overall was an amazing experience and I absolutely loved being pregnant. Apart from the fact that you were being extra adored by your entire family, everyone was kind of like 100% always just taking care of me, making sure I ate, making sure I did all the right things. And having all of that attention was amazing as a whole. But the pregnancy overall was really good. I was one of the lucky ones and I had no sickness throughout the entire pregnancy. So I was never sick. I think the only one time I was sick in the pregnancy was due to motion sickness. So I hated being a passenger in the car and that would make me feel really sickly. So in order to avoid that, I always made sure I was the driver of the car, and that basically made my motion sickness better and I never experienced it again. So sickness was never an issue for me in the pregnancy. And then another big factor that does come in pregnancy is swelling of your feet. Again, I was lucky that I had no swelling at all. My feet stayed the same size, the same way through the pregnancy from day one right till the end date. But what I would like to say in regards of that is probably the fact that I was really active in my pregnancy. Ever since we found out that I was pregnant, right up until the end, me and my husband went on long walks in the evening, and some days when I weren't feeling it, he would encourage me and just push me to go walk. We found out we were pregnant, we were walking quite a lot. We would go for about half an hour to 45 minutes. As obviously the pregnancy went on, I became more and more tired, so I couldn't walk as much as I could. We would just do rounds of our block. That way we were near to the house, and anytime I need to stop, I could just come back home. And that would just, you know, really help, because it was some sort of activeness in the pregnancy. And then right up until the last day, I was dancing. So, you know, a lot of people would be like, dancing? Shouldn't you be sitting down and relaxing yourself? Not really, no. Pregnancy is not an illness, and that is one thing, you know, everyone needs to realize. Pregnant, not pregnant, you're still a human being, you're still a woman, you still have things to do, you should still be on your feet. So it doesn't mean you're pregnant, you should just sit yourself down and not do anything. So throughout the entire pregnancy, I love dancing. I always danced, and I kept dancing right up until the end. Because of these things, me being active, I think the pregnancy as a whole went really good for me, so it made it so much more easier for me. The only thing that I found hard in the pregnancy had to be my heartburn. I went through some serious heartburn, and it come to a point where I had to go to the GP, and I said to him, I cannot take any more of this. It's giving me constant sleepless nights, and it's just making it really difficult for me. That's when he prescribed me Gaviscon, and literally I was drinking probably 3 or 4 spoons of Gaviscon every night, and that basically helped me to get to sleep. But I was just a complete ghost, and in the middle of the night I'd be walking around the house and I would just be sitting up. My husband would find me, you know, 2, 3 in the morning just sitting on our bed just thinking, because I could not go to sleep. So heartburn was probably the hardest things that I did have in my pregnancy, and that was probably the only thing I found difficult in my pregnancy. I'm glad I had the heartburn, because my baby, he has a full head of hair, so I'm guessing the hair explains the heartburn. So like I've been talking about being active in the pregnancy, and you know, many might question, what did I eat? Did I, you know, eat healthily? Was I having salads? Was I having fruits? Let's be real, I cannot go on a diet, and I cannot eat healthy for a long while. So I just ate what I wanted to. And then another thing is, in pregnancy, I feel, and what my kind of elders in my family and what my aunties explained to me was, eat whatever you want. They told me that anything I am craving for, anything I want to eat, it's not me wanting to eat that, it's the baby. And the baby wants to eat that. So whether it be spicy, sugary, crunchy, you know, soft foods, it's what the baby wants to eat. So there was a point in my pregnancy where I just constantly wanted potatoes. I just wanted chips with a hell of a lot of chili and mayo. That is all I wanted. So I think in the first probably 3 or 4 months, all I ate was chips. I would just randomly call my husband on his way back from work, and I'd be like, stop by that one chip shop which I like and pick me up a small portion of chips. And he did so, and that is what I did throughout the entire pregnancy. Anything I wanted to eat, whenever I wanted to eat, I ate it. Have such small meals because you don't have the capacity to hold a large meal anymore. But I'd have various times where I'd eat 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day because I'm so hungry. I was hungry all the time, so I ate whatever I wanted to eat. But yes, I did make myself some smoothies. I did have lots of fruit smoothies with spinach and kale. I have always had smoothies. I still have smoothies, and I had them before I got pregnant, so that is something I like. So it's not something I was forcing myself to have. Smoothies is something I love drinking, and obviously throughout the pregnancy I continued it, and now I'm continuing it as well. So if you are a person who is pregnant, or you know someone who is pregnant, always encourage them to just basically eat what they want to eat. They shouldn't have to restrict themselves because they're pregnant and they think they're going to put on more pounds. You're pregnant, you should enjoy the entire experience as a whole. you know, every woman has this amazing experience that they can go through. So why not enjoy it to the fullest and, you know, live that moment, live those 9 months, you know, beautifully. Enjoy every single part of it. If you are one of those women, you know, like me, I had such an amazing husband who was supportive of everything throughout the pregnancy. It just made my whole experience so much easier. In regards of my weight, before the pregnancy I was 61 kg, and on my week 39 I was 82 kg. In the entire pregnancy I put on 21 kg, if not probably more, and my current weight today is 59 kg. So I am very happy and honoured that I have lost my entire pregnancy weight. I'm not saying I have gone to the exact same shape which I was before the pregnancy. No, I have still got a lot of work to do, which I am working on, but I would say from the feedback I have received from people and from the way I have measured myself, I can see that in the 2 months my body has done well, and I'm going to continue that, and hopefully I'm going to tone up my body. Now coming to the interesting part, which is the delivery and the labour itself. Let's talk about how it all happened and exactly, you know, how it happened. When it came to about 36-37 weeks, I was exhausted. Like I said to you guys, I had severe heartburn, and it came to the point where I could not go through my heartburn anymore, and I just basically wanted this baby out of me. And from, I think, November last year up until April, I knew about 5 women who had given birth, and all 5 of them had given birth to their babies early. So they'd given birth to the baby in the space of a week and a half to 2 weeks early. So I was so positive that my baby was going to come early. I was just 100% sure. I knew my nappy bag is packed. I had my nails done, I had my pedicure done, I had everything done to prepare me for the 38th week, which was totally wrong. But when 37th came, 38 came, even 39 came, I was just like, I need it to happen now. When I came to about 38 weeks, I couldn't feel the baby move one night. So me and my husband went to the hospital to kind of see what's happening, and when we went there everything was fine, and they gave us our 40-week appointment, and all I would wish for was that my 40-week appointment would not come and I would go into labour before that. And then on the 25th of April, which was a Tuesday, I went to go pick up my dad from work, and now everyone kept telling me not to drive, but because my feet were fine, my stomach was fine, I just always felt like I'm fine to drive, so I never ever held back from driving. But I went to go pick up my dad, and at this one occasion my stomach felt really tight and I felt a little bit painful. So when I was turning the steering wheel, you know, I knew I can't really do it. So I said to my dad, I said, tomorrow I might not come pick you up because I'm finding it hard to drive and I'm feeling a little bit painful, so I might not come. I picked him up at 5 o'clock. That evening we came home, I had my dinner and we went to sleep. And then I woke up at 2 in the morning to go to the toilet. When I went, I felt like something's happened. So I was like, yes, I think I am definitely about to go into labour. I think my water has broken. I quickly came back to my room and I said to my husband, I think our water has broken. So then I took a moment. I didn't want to, you know, scare myself. So I took a moment, I sat on the bed, I grabbed a towel, sat on that, and I said, okay, let's take, you know, a few minutes to kind of take this in. And I was having no contractions at that point. I was absolutely fine. Water breaking doesn't really mean a lot. Obviously it means that the barrier in the womb has broken to the baby, so the baby is at more risk of getting any infections. So you really do need to have the baby within 24 hours. But it doesn't mean that the baby is coming. If the water has broken, it just means that you need to wait for your contractions. I took my time and I think we spent about an hour and a half before we started to get ready to go to the hospital. And then when we finally got ourselves to the hospital, they obviously told me the same thing which I knew, that I have to wait for my contractions. I'm not dilated yet. Baby's head is definitely down. So they told me to go home, get myself something to eat and have some sleep so I've got some energy. And they told me my baby will be here within the next 24 hours. So now this is around 4 in the morning. This is the 26th. It's now a Wednesday morning. So me and my husband drove back from the hospital. We went to McDonald's, 4:30 in the morning. Yes, got ourselves some meals and came home, and I went to sleep. And then my husband woke up and went to work because he had to sort a few things out. So I woke up around 12 o'clock. I had a shower and I felt no contractions. So I started cleaning and I went crazy. I was cleaning all the windows, I was cleaning all the mirrors, I was cleaning the wardrobes. I washed all of the baby's newborn clothes, I washed the cot sheets, I got the Moses basket ready, I got the cot ready, I got everything ready for the baby. And I had a really thorough clean. And my husband came back around 1 o'clock and he was just like, what are you doing? And I was just, I'm feeling nothing and I need to keep myself busy because I am waiting for these contractions and I just want them to come. I was told if my contractions did not start 11 p.m, I would have had to be induced. So this was around 4 o'clock and I'm still feeling normal. I've got no pains and I was worried that if my contractions did not start, they're going to have to induce me. The area in the hospital that me and my husband had chosen is called the birth centre, and that is basically a cross between a hospital and being at home. So you just have 2 sofas and you have a pool which they fill up with water, and you have your ensuite bathroom, and then from the wall that they have a double bed that they can pull down. So it's basically like having a hotel room but in a hospital. So that was a room that we had chosen. In that birth centre, the only type of pain relief that they can give you was paracetamol or Gassanair. So I wanted to stay in the birth centre because I was so adamant I didn't want a epidural. So I just felt like if I'm going to be induced and, you know, if I'm taken upstairs to the labour ward with the rest of the women and the doctors, they will definitely, you know, induce me and give me the epidural. They'll force me and I'll be forced into taking that, and I do not want that. So I really wanted to give birth in the birth centre and just do it all naturally. I really wanted my contractions to come. And then around, I think 6 o'clock, I could start feeling something. Something was coming. But this something was, you know, sometimes it would be every 10 minutes, sometimes every 20 minutes, sometimes 5 or 6. So these were my contractions, but they weren't regular enough, which meant I wasn't dilating. So I still had to wait it out. And I was just getting bored of this and I just wanted it to come. We had everything packed from the time that we went to the hospital at 2 in the morning. So nothing else needed to be packed. I changed my clothes, got ready and sat on the bed. And then I think 8:30 we got ready to go to the hospital. I was still probably about 5 or 6 minutes apart. So I still wasn't dilated enough, but we went to the hospital because our hospital was about half an hour to 45 minutes away from our house. Because I wanted that kind of private space and that birth centre, we chose this specific hospital. So this was about half an hour to 45 minutes away from us. So I was so worried that I wouldn't make it to the hospital in time. So around 8:30 we left and we went to the hospital. As soon as we got to the hospital, they told us that I was only 2 centimeters dilated. So I wasn't ready to give birth at all. I wasn't obviously ready to push, nothing yet. But they decided they're going to give me a room. A, they weren't that busy, so they had a room in the birth centre. And secondly, because this was 9 o'clock now, and at 11 they would have had to induce me, and it's going to be nearly 24 hours since I had broken my waters, they had no choice but to give me a room and keep me there. So they told me to just go there and just wait for my contractions to come regular. Around 10 o'clock they came and checked again, but they told me my contractions weren't regular again. So I was there, both of us got hungry, so we were there on our own. I just felt like me and my husband can do this on our own. And I had my cousin as a backup just in case I needed her. I would call her and she would come and she would be there for me. The pain from 10 till 2 started getting really bad, and I could feel my contractions coming more, but the thing was they weren't coming regular. So again, it was the same thing. Sometimes they would come every 6 minutes, sometimes they would come every 10 minutes, and it was becoming very painful for me. We were both tired. My husband, you know, had been awake with me the previous night. He'd been to work, so in the last 24 hours he only had about 4 or 5 hours sleep, and he was exhausted, I was exhausted, and it was getting all too much for me. So around 2 a.m. I literally felt like I cannot take this pain any longer. So I called my cousin and I said to her, you have to come to the hospital. I need another person there. By the time she came, it was 4 o'clock. And at that point, I was like, get this baby out of me. There was one midwife and she kept telling me my contractions aren't regular. There's nothing she can do. And I just wanted her to just shut up and just help me. There was another midwife who was amazing. She was such a lovely woman. She was so nice. And unfortunately, the labour ward was busy. They had a lot of pregnant women that night, and she was upstairs helping them. And this woman was so moody. She kept telling me, the baby's not coming. The baby's not going to come until tomorrow. I cannot take it. Do something. So I told her to give me some pain relief, and she kept telling me she cannot give me gas and air. She checked how dilated I was, and I was unfortunately only 3 centimeters. And I was sitting in a pool of water that they had now changed, I think 2 or 3 times. I had drank jugs of water. I had drank so many glasses of Lucozade, but I was only 3 centimeters. So the agony of being in so much pain, and you know, you've been there from 9 o'clock and it's now 4 in the morning. You have been in this pain for what, 7 hours, and they're telling you you have only dilated by 1 centimeter. That feeling, that time when she told me that, I've literally felt like, I just felt like pulling my hair out my head, because I could not take the pain any longer and I just wanted it to happen. And that's me. I was like, you know, give me some pain relief. So she connected the gas and air. I now have my cousin by me. She's holding my hand, and I think God listened to me, because from that period from 4 o'clock till 6 o'clock, I started dilating. And the next, I went from 3 centimeters to 6 centimeters, you know, within a space of about an hour. And then in the next hour, I went from 6 centimeters to 8 centimeters. And that's when I felt like I needed to push. And here's me, you know, trying to push as hard as I could, so that, you know, my cervix would thin out and I would dilate and my baby would come, just so I don't have to go upstairs. And then the nice lady came along, and then both of them are just waiting for me to push. And I really thought I'm ready to push, and I was just going at it, going at it, going at it. But unfortunately, it wasn't happening. They took me out of the water and they said to me, it's a good idea if I try to urinate. I was being stubborn. I did not want to get out of the water. The water for me was a good pain relief, but they told me I had to get out. So I tried to urinate, but unfortunately that did not happen. They decided that they're going to have to put a catheter, and they put a long needle inside, and that basically took all of the urine out. So once I got the urine out, I dilated even more. But at that point they had decided there's nothing for me in the birth center, and they have to take me upstairs to the labour ward, and they're going to have to induce me. So they took me in a wheelchair upstairs, and the experience of going in a wheelchair from downstairs ward to the upstairs ward was hell. You know, that fragile part you are sitting on is so sore, is wanting you to push, and you know, there's all sorts going on there, and you're sitting on that fragile area and you're being bumped, pushed, you know. It felt like every little, you know, uneven part of the hospital was like a bump on the road. And it was just the most painful experience of going upstairs in that wheelchair. But they took me upstairs, and Once I got upstairs, they checked and I was 10 centimeters dilated. Woohoo! I was finally ready to make that big final push. So that was probably the best thing that could have happened to me that night, that I was ready to do this. But from that experience to pushing was hard. It was hard. When you're pushing that head out, you may think that it's going to happen really quick, but those details are wrong. It does not happen quick. It does take a very long time. It is the most painful experience. You know, it did hurt a lot. I was just glad that I had my husband and my cousin there to kind of witness everything. They were there for the entire birth, and they were basically, them and the doctors, giving me every detail of, you know, the pushing that I was doing. As soon as I got in the labour ward, they did ask me if I wanted the epidural. Straight away I said no, and unfortunately they wouldn't let me take the gas and air. So basically it meant I had to push the baby out all naturally without any pain relief, because they just felt like the gas and air was really exhausting me. So they literally just gave me an entire jug of a fizzy drink, and they just told me to drink that and basically just push. After I think probably what felt like 100 pushes, finally the head was out, and as soon as the head was out, it felt a massive difference. I felt like, you know, a big relief. But as the head came out, unfortunately Harvey's shoulders got stuck, and what I cannot remember, you know, so well, but as soon as the head came out, the shoulders got stuck. The midwife pressed the emergency button, and within seconds, we did not even realize she pressed an emergency button. All she said to us was, the shoulders are stuck. Button got pressed. A whole fleet of doctors ran inside the room. Literally, my cousin was standing here, my husband was here. One of the doctors pushed my cousin out the way, and one of them pressed their hand on my stomach. The other one put the baby on the table. You know, the baby was having oxygen. They started checking the baby, and Harvey was fine. Just because his shoulders got stuck, they needed to see whether everything was fine. They needed to pump all the air out of him, just clean him up and see whether he was okay. As soon as they did all of that, they put him onto my chest, and he had his skin to skin with me. I was very, very, very lucky that in my 31 hours of labour, I had no epidural. I only took gas for literally a couple of hours, and I had literally one very tiny, tiny, tiny first degree tear, which was inside, and I needed one small stitch, and that is all I needed, and that is everything, you know, that happened in my labour. Then we were lucky because me and the baby had no risks afterwards, and we were low risk. We were lucky enough to go back down to the birth centre, and we were all lucky to stay the night in the birth centre. And like I said, that room was literally like a hotel. We had our ensuite bathroom, we had a flat screen TV, we had our normal room service, which every hospital does get, and we had a double bed and a lovely cot for the baby as well. And I went downstairs, the midwife gave me a shower, and that's when my mum, my brother and my aunt came to the hospital to see the baby. And then after they left, the three of us just went to sleep. So around 11 o'clock we went to sleep and woke up around, I think, 4 o'clock. And then again in the evening my family came round again for the second time to see the baby, and they came to give us some home food. It's been such an amazing experience, and like I said to you guys, I recovered really well. I was lucky enough that I was feeling great after the birth, and I requested to go home the following morning. So the midwives did say I can stay longer in the hospital, but I chose not to. So I rang the bell 6 in the morning, and 9 o'clock they discharged me, and exactly, you know, just over 24 hours after Harvey was born, we were both home and, you know, with our family, and it was really good. And then I just let it go on from there. I have never let myself think that, you know, I can't do this. I have always been positive from that time onwards, and I've always told myself anything that comes to you, you can do. And the pain after the birth, I took it on being a brave soldier, and I just told myself, if I can do the labor bit, this bit is nothing. And whether I am breastfeeding, yes, I am still breastfeeding. It's been 2 months since the delivery, and I reckon I will still continue to breastfeed for another 4 months. I want to try and breastfeed for at least 6 months. I generally think the closeness with breastfeeding and your baby sharing that skin to skin and having that connection with you is priceless. And breastfeeding does help you to lose the weight as well, so I would definitely recommend that. But this as a whole, I think I have covered everything from my pregnancy to my delivery story and my labor. But I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this story and listening to everything I had to say. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. And if you guys haven't already subscribed to my channel, do hit the subscribe button. And like I have said to you guys before, do check out my social medias. So do check out my Snapchat and my Instagram. I do post daily on both of those social medias. And hopefully I will see every one of you in my next video. So bye guys.